Oh, we're live. That came quicker than we thought. Welcome, you
Damn.
guys. My name is Dan C. Bearded, and I host this show every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern on the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff YouTube channel. This series is called Doctor's Orders. We're on episode 31. We'll have to do something cool once we hit like 52 and we get the year like anniversary of the show. But we'll get into that another time, guys. And again, my name is Dan. This gentleman over here is the doctor himself, the doctor of time and space. Nick, how are you doing?
What's up, guys? I'm doing good, man. Not bad for a Tuesday. Feeling pretty good over here. Busy,
That's right.
but doing good.
Awesome, man. Love to hear it. We were talking content and strategy before the stream. Be on the lookout for some more videos and content coming to this Dr. Nick's YouTube channel. It's not a subscription that you guys will regret, even though it costs you nothing. Keep that in mind and feel free to share out the stream, share out this channel. And as everybody comes in, if you guys could, just on your way in as like the welcome, as you take your shoes off and you give the coat to Nick, just hit that thumbs up to show that you guys are ready and excited for this stream today. And Nick, you had some travel last week that we had talked about on Tuesday, but other than on Instagram, people haven't been able to check in with you. How did travel go? Where'd you go? Any thoughts on beard care or your beard in general? And kind of, if you could, talk about, this is your first time back in this setting in a few years and in a few feet, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, man. It was definitely, it was, talk about, it's funny. I haven't traveled much since 2021, since, I guess once everything started kind of shutting down in 2020, right? But I really didn't travel much at all. Like, we had a couple of small trips, but nothing. It wasn't like the regular work thing where like it's just me by myself bouncing between planes and Ubers and hotels and conference rooms. And man, I'll tell you what, a couple of notes. Being downtown in Philly, walking around, just being not going from car to car, but like walking a couple of miles at a clip to go to grab lunch or whatever it might be. It's a great walking city, but man, over the rivers and when you're out in the open space, out of the buildings, the wind, I was just straight over the shoulder blowing the whole time. Like I'm like walking down the street and my beard's blowing over the shoulder and like people are like honking their horns at me driving, like going like this, like doing that whole thing. No, it was a great trip. It had some, great meetings. It was good seeing everybody again, to be honest, like seeing some of the people that I normally now only see over video. That was really cool. And some good food. Probably the single spiciest thing I've ever eaten in my entire life. We'll get back to that in a minute. That was kind of a journey, about a 36-hour journey.
Full length journey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was acutely aware of where that shredded duck was moving through my body as it moved through.
Did you finish it off with a little Johnny Cash, Burning Ring of Fire?
Oh yeah. Exactly. I just had that on repeat on my Spotify while I just kind of sat there and cried. No big deal. But no, it was great. So, it was funny though, man, because everyone there in that office, I think I might even have it on me. I have like this, I helped my friend move into this new office of theirs. And, I do have it. I wonder if you'll be able to see it on camera. And so I helped him move into this office. It was on a weekend, and it's the full floor of a huge sky rise. They have a few hundred people that are in that office now. And of course, we're kind of like my buddy and I'm like, well, I'll help your IT group. I'll come down for a weekend and we'll move some stuff, have some fun, drink some beers, eat some pizza. And while I was down there in my moving clothes, I decided to go get my badge so I could get back into the building. And this is the last beard everyone down there saw me with.
Wow.
So it was just barely below the chin, So I walk in there and everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? And it was funny because, I couldn't quite tell. It's an office full of really straight-laced, well, I wouldn't say straight-laced people. They appear that way. Outwardly speaking, they are very, professional, clean shaven for the most part. Lots of short beards, I will say, though. Tons of guys came back after COVID that didn't have beards before that do now.
Nice.
But it was funny because we'd go out for like drinks afterwards or something, you know, and everyone catches up down the street at one of these bars built into the building. And one by one, I get people coming up, mostly women. And they were like, oh, so-and-so, like they're like, that's an awesome beard. Like, how long you been growing it? And they're like, okay, so none of the guys will say anything. But when you walked into that office, one of the guys walked around the corner and said, dude, who's that guy that just walked in? He's got like a beard down to his belt buckle.
Yep.
And so she's like, and so it was like 3 or 4 people came up and they're like, just so you know, like, you know, only guy with a big beard in a professional setting. No one is anything but jealous. They're like, you look great. You look professional. Awesome beard. Love it. So I got like good thumbs up, nods of approval from everyone that hasn't seen me in quite a while, which was just always nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was good. You know, traveling with it though is just different. Like I'm not used to traveling with such length. Laptop straps, other stuff. You know, I will say that like the bun that I do at nighttime, you know, I think I might actually do when bouncing around the city, like wearing a sport coat with a laptop bag and other stuff going on. I might actually pull the, you know, the bottom knot and be that guy walking around.
Yeah.
I might, dude. It was, you know, it's a lot of length to deal with when you're doing certain stuff. And I feel like it must have just got to the point where it gets in my way now.
Yeah, no, I understand. And I'm going to talk for a little bit here so you can write down an idea real quick, if you know what I mean, involving a bun. That would be fantastic.
I already have that on the list, actually.
Perfect. And everybody coming in, if you saw the title of today's stream, it simply says the quarterly catch-up. When Nick and I were planning the stream last week for this week, we always plan a week ahead. We just were kind of like, hey, we haven't really had like a chance to talk to everyone, to go over whatever questions they have, whatever topics, whatever is going on in their life. And I was kind of pushing that to Nick, and Nick's like, oh, heck yeah. And then Nick took it a step further and said, why don't we try to do that quarterly? Why don't we do that 4 times a year where we go over this information and we get everybody involved? Because we almost always have a specific topic that we go over, and the chat takes us wherever it wants, of course. But we want to dedicate that time. So if you guys today have questions for Nick, you got questions for Dr. Nix, or even me, go crazy. Or if you have a topic that you want to go over, bring that up. Or if you have something going on in your life you would like to discuss, please, we want to catch up with what's going on with you guys, what you guys are wondering. And then Nick, all right, walk us through what's going on here. What's the bun?
I mean, it's not a terrible look.
No.
Like I don't hate it, you know, like from the side.
And there's no tie or anything needed there. You're actually using your own beard hair to tie it.
Yes, sir. Yep. Just loops right around, comes back through, and you just poke the little long piece right through the back. So it kind of does one of those.
Wow. Okay. And that's how you sleep at night?
It is. And so at nighttime, I use one of the, I don't think I have it up here. I use one of those teleties, you know, and I just kind of pop it around there. Because once in a while, depending on how, you know, much I'm thrashing around in my sleep at night, it can go a little crazy. But yeah, see, ooh, so tidy. This is like when Wilson stays over and I come downstairs hunting for espresso in the morning. This is typically how I stumble downstairs, with a bunch of stuff flying out of the sides.
Oh, yeah.
Dude. And so Garrett McCarthy, I was literally just going to say, this is 1,000% not my idea. I learned this from Mr. Wyatt. And I had a video on YouTube where he's like, boop, 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 boop. And he does it. I was like, hold on a minute. And so I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So yeah, props to Rob. I've been doing it ever since.
Perfect.
I'm going to pull it out now though, because if I leave it in too long, it gets kind of kinky.
Yeah. Kinky. Yeah. Now keep it. Yeah. Now that one should move way up the list. That can be done pretty easily, and I think would be a banger of a video. So
I think so too. And I'm definitely gonna give a shout out to Rob when I do it too. I'm hoping he like, what I want to do is I want to keep going back and forth with Rob until he just finally wants to jump on video with me.
There you go.
You know.
Yep, that'd be a good one. And also, you mentioned espresso. Sam has for a while most days gotten Starbucks. Now it's been like her little treat yourself thing. You know, it's not cheap. It's a gosh dang monthly bill, but it was making her happy. She liked it, but she was never like fully satisfied with it. Her main gripe against Starbucks is like a little burnt taste afterwards. Like that's her biggest thing. And when we went down to Texas, she got a bunch of different places of really good coffee. And she was like, I want to try and lower my coffee spending and I want to try and get something better. So she got yesterday, Target had a crazy deal, dang near half off, and she got a Nespresso machine.
That's what I was just going to say, man.
Yep.
Love them.
You love, is that what you use?
So I went a little too hard and a little too deep into the espresso thing. Imagine that.
Right.
But no, Jill and I were on Nespresso machines for years and years and years. I got actually the place I just stayed in Philly got me hooked on them because there's one in every room.
Okay.
And I was like, what is this witchcraft of coffee? I thought it was going to be like a K cup and I thought it was going to be garbage.
That's what it looks like.
I'm like, fine, I'll deal with this. And, they're new ones, the Centurions, they're great. The round ones with the barcodes under the pods.
I was just going to say those barcodes are brilliant because
they program the machine to tell it how much water. It actually changes the temp of the water too, depending on the pressure
and speed, everything.
And they're centrifugal, so they're very efficient. I love them. And so I got another espresso machine. It grew in size and footprint and complexity. And Jill just tells me the other day, she's like, I haven't actually liked a cup of coffee since we switched to this coffee machine. She's like, I don't like espresso by itself with hot water in it, like an Americano, like I do. She's like, I deal with it, but it's not my favorite. So the espresso machine is actually coming back out of the closet, going right on the counter next to this thing. And we're just going to have both because that way Jill can have her big pods, because they do like full cup coffee pods and espresso.
So she likes those.
She loves them. It gives you the crema that you get on top of a normal cup of espresso, but it's on coffee. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. And they're awesome. You don't have to think about it. It's the same every time. And after using it for years and going to like small roasters of coffee, I like their beans and their stuff just as much as any boutique,
that's awesome
roaster.
Yeah, that's awesome because I thought that the barcodes were just brilliant because like K-cup machines, they essentially became like a supplier of the machine and then everybody else just took on the K-cups. Nespresso is dominating their cup market, and then they trademark and they sell the licensing to other places. Like really one of the only ones that does it is Starbucks, but they pay them to get that technology. And so it's really
and actually they're the ones that package it too. So Nespresso actually co-packs Starbucks coffee into those pods.
Yeah.
Like Starbucks doesn't like have their own pod machine. It's just their coffee, but Nespresso actually makes it.
Interesting.
So I'm actually wondering if that's a reverse license deal. I'm almost wondering if Nespresso licenses and gets the resale rights for Starbucks coffee and they put it in the pods as opposed to Starbucks licensing the pod technology and then putting it in their own. I think that one goes the other way.
Could be.
But the stuff, it works and the stuff is nice. And the stuff that you get online from them is great. Like if you go to Nespresso, they got this delivery service through, I think, a company called like Twin Peaks. Literally gets to you within 48 hours of ordering it, free shipping. And they send you a bag where you can take all your pods and put them in the bag. And with free postage, you send them back to Nespresso and they recycle the pods.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it actually is kind of neat.
All right, I'll have to tell Sam all about that. And we'll talk some more about coffee. But yeah, she just got started yesterday. So Kevin said that he liked the look. Have you tried any kind of Viking look?
What, like braiding it?
I think so. I think that's what he's getting at.
Yeah, I do. I do like, so if I don't do the bun, once in a while, I'll just do like a big fat braid. And I'll just kind of, and it's like by a fat one, I don't twist each side first, so I don't make it small. I actually just leave it like big and open like this, where I'll just come through and just do like a big giant one like this coming down, something like that, like a big one.
Yeah, that works.
I do those quite a bit too when I'm just sometimes when I'm sleeping. I'll do that when I'm doing stuff, especially in the shop, like I'll do the bun in the shop now so it doesn't get in any machinery, or if I'm working on a car.
Yeah.
There's like, I always have this thing, like my first instinct, whenever I hear something in an engine compartment of a car, like mine or anybody else's, they're like, I hear something going on. The mechanic in me goes like, okay, open the hood. And I just lean right over. And of course, now I'm thinking to myself, like, dear God, imagine if this got like caught in like a fan belt or like a serpentine, like a pulley or something somewhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We've seen those stories online.
Yeah. No, thanks.
And Jill says, it's so strong. I swear espresso Nick makes is made from straight deck nails and broken glass.
In nitromethane. You damn right it is. It's like that. I actually just take cold brew and fill my water tank of my espresso machine with cold brew, and I just have pressurized cold brew instead of water going through my coffee. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. It's just thick.
that double brew.
Yeah.
I can watch full length sitcoms in a matter of minutes.
Yep. you put it, yeah. You watch YouTube videos on times 10.
Yeah, exactly right.
And process it all. So Angel says, I love Cafe Americano. The only way to get a decent decaf when you're out and about.
Oh yeah, it is, because like people just use the crap coffee for their decaf, whatever they're going to use, but typically they'll have decent decaf espresso, and then so yeah, bam, add some water, good decaf coffee on the go.
Okay.
And yes, I love Cuban coffee. There's a couple different main varieties though. Like some of that Cuban coffee has a little bit of chicory in it, and I actually really like that. It's like, you know, like the Cafe Cubano, like if you're down in Tampa, is cinnamon with condensed milk and espresso over ice. So it's sweet.
Okay.
But damn, it is very, very good.
Okay. And I think everyone likely knows, but I don't drink coffee at all. So this is all like a foreign language to me. And I will keep it that way because I don't think our family could afford two people that have an addiction to coffee. So
yeah, Dan has like a tickle of a gag reflex going throughout this entire conversation because coffee's not his thing.
No. Yeah, like it doesn't I actually love the smell of coffee. I love coffee shop smells.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, I love like when you go into a coffee shop and that just smell just hits you. I love that smell.
I would not have imagined that. Yeah, I switched to black coffee after a while. Like when I started doing intermittent fasting is actually when I switched to black coffee, because I don't eat after dinner, and I typically don't eat until lunchtime the next day. So I got like a 6-hour window where I eat food. And what I noticed is you just can't do that if you put anything in your coffee, because you're either going to spike your blood sugar with any kind of sugar.
Yeah.
Or if you use some kind of a milk or cream, there's fat. So that's going to start your lipid system up, and your body thinks that you've eaten. And then I'm starving 2 hours later.
Okay. Yeah. I just drink water. I start each morning just with some water here. And G Squared is talking about how his Ninja machine will boil the water from a separate line. That's cool. Makes sense.
I actually do like that. With these new ones, they have this separate coil for the hot water, which is awesome. Like our espresso machine does that too, where it'll just pipe out boiling hot water for you. You know what's funny though, is like it does that, but I just I make espresso, and then we have a water dispenser up here. They're called water bubblers, but everywhere else, I guess they're just water dispensers with the 5-gallon jug on top.
Yeah.
And we use those, and it has a hot and a cold side to it. So I just make my espresso and then just fill my cup up with the hot water from that thing. And it's like just right temp. It's not too hot. It's like Goldilocks water comes out of there.
There you go. Do you want to touch on this question from JT Steve? Said, did you scrap the morning routine video?
I did not. I just got distracted. So there was, as Dan can attest to, that happens. What it was actually is I had that shot, and then I had it on the chopping block ready to get edited, and then we did Wilson's Chris W in here. We just did Wilson's trim video with Chris Cole, and I shot that, and actually shot it on a Friday and edited it Friday night and had it out on Saturday, which was 1000% a land speed editing record for me. But I was so proud of myself that I did it. I'm like, ha, look at me, got all my video editing done. Totally forgot that I had another one to edit. So now that Dan and I just talked, I'm gonna edit that one tonight. And I want to get the voiceover done on it tomorrow. I'll probably do the voiceover from here in the studio tomorrow, so I can have like me in a little bubble in the corner down there talking while I'm going, because that was a voice vocal-less video, video only, because the short videos where I'm going over like, and actually you guys can probably weigh in on this. The short videos where I'm going to do kind of some instructional stuff, like for like a beard balm, for example. How do I apply beard balm? I'm going to talk over those because I can kind of talk, look at it, talk about what I'm doing while I'm doing it. But with the whole morning process, I'm kind of starting off from straight out of the bun, messy beard, get out of the shower, I come back and I go through the whole process. And since it's a lengthier video, I want to be able to speed through certain sections where I'm just going through and either hot brushing or going through and working in oil. And so I did it with no words. So that way I can fast forward through it and just do voiceovers. But the shorter ones, I think, make more sense to talk during the video. So
for sure. For sure. And
here's me getting into analysis paralysis. Dan, of course, thinks of me whenever I say these things. He's like, "Yep." Or option C, which is even better, just shoot the damn video and see what works.
Right. Yeah, let's do it. Chris wants to know if you've had this kind of coffee from a place in New Orleans.
Cafe Du Monde, hell yeah, with a beignet. You damn right I have. I don't eat, as you guys know, I don't eat sugar, and I avoid, if I am going to eat sugar, the last thing it's going to be is a donut or something like that. But when in Rome, right? So, I mean, if you're in New Orleans and you're anywhere near Cafe Du Monde and you don't get a chicory coffee and a beignet, you're doing life wrong is the bottom line there. So yeah, that stuff is good.
There you go.
And by the way, those boxes of beignet mix they sell there, you will never make one come out like what you get there. I don't know if it's a different mix or if I'm just completely inept. But I can promise that my beignets from the box mix did not come out like their beignets.
And Kevin says he can't drink coffee due to a medical condition. He said he now drinks matcha green tea. Cool. I've heard of that.
So matcha's good stuff, but I mean, there's a decent amount. Is the medical condition because of caffeine? Because matcha's got like tons of caffeine in it.
Interesting.
I wonder if it's something else, like an acid thing or something.
And Garrett said, I started black coffee when I was competing, and this is in weightlifting competitions, and it was the only way I could have my coffee, so I got used to it.
That's it. Same thing with intermittent fasting, man. Is like I never liked black coffee, so I was like, well, can't do coffee in the morning, so I guess I'll just cut that out. And like day 2 of that, I'm like, no, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try the black coffee.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do black coffee as like their pre-workout.
Oh yeah, I do. I like cold brew as a pre-workout, 1000%. Cold brew. I'll pound one of those, go into the gym, and it's perfect.
There you go. And G Squared said him and his wife actually went there for their honeymoon. He said New Orleans is his favorite place, not at home, that he's been to.
Dude, New Orleans is cool. I really like it there. It's the French Quarter is awesome, and then there's the Garden. What is it? The Garden District, right? Is like right next to the French Quarter there, and it's like there's that art school there, Toulouse, maybe is what it's called, something like that. Someone will keep me honest here, but it's just an awesome little town. Great walking city, great restaurants. Like, dear God, especially being gluten-free, man, there's so much food for you down there because all of it is just like broths and meats. Like it's like between gumbo and etouffee and those things. I mean, they're like, it's all good stuff.
Okay, good to know. I would not have guessed that area would have gluten-free food.
Yeah, like you figure most of it is rice and meat broths,
Yeah.
Yep. That's the bulk of it. Except you get into the French stuff where you got to be careful they don't use flour and the roux that makes like whatever sticking up the sauce. So like
right, and that's
some of those. That'd be your challenge.
Yeah, and that's the same kind of deal like we just did Texas, and people are like, did you get all the barbecue? And it's like barbecue's like a 50-50 hit or miss if they add in flour or not. Like it just seems split down the middle, and most times it's just like not needed. Like you can do this with so many other things, like xanthan gum, for example, is a great thickening agent that's gluten-free and often way better for everybody in general. So I think we'll see a big shift where people realize like, oh, we don't actually have to do this. And there's a lot of places that are already kind of like naturally gluten-free where they don't, now they're starting to post like gluten-free, but it's like not like, hey, we made this gluten-free food, like Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Wonderful. Everyone loves it, right? It's kind of like your Honest Amish, big chain, done well. And that's gluten-free. They don't have any flour in theirs.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like the soy sauce that I like to use is a gluten-free soy sauce naturally, but so many of them aren't. So it's like you'll get those in a lot of different marinades and stuff, and people just won't realize that it's not a gluten-free soy sauce.
Yeah. Is it the tamari or something like that?
Tamari. Yeah, tamari is all gluten-free by
Yep.
nature of the type of soy they use.
Yep.
And then we just use a basic signature select, but it just happens to be from a variety of blends that is soy free, is gluten-free.
Nice, nice. And here's Kevin's explanation. He talked about the caffeine spike will cause him to crash, but matcha has a slow release.
Oh, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And where I think some people get messed up with matcha because they're expecting the kick in your pants that you get from coffee, even though it's the same amount of, but they say it doesn't. But they say it's like a slower onset. So, okay, so it's a slower release. So it gets metabolized slower,
Okay. So
different molecule.
100% serious question here.
Mm.
You wake up, you're is it that you're feeling like you're got to wake up a little bit or you're groggy and slow? What is the feeling of coffee when you have that? Is it like
Mm.
hyper? Is it awake? Like I literally, this is a foreign topic to me. So explain what it's like in the morning before, and then you have your coffee. What's your best explanation of what that does?
So for me, the amount of coffee that I drink, my goal, so like if I wake up naturally and I wake up and maybe say I wake up, have water, and I go to the gym, and then about that half hour mark into the gym, you know, where your brain starts firing, you start getting the endorphin rushes, and you start getting like the, okay, yeah, I need to make a list. I got this and this and this I
Yeah.
got to run through today, and that kind of thing starts happening. That's where coffee gets me just after a cup, like, you know, a minute and a half into drinking coffee. That's where my head is.
Okay.
So I can actually, I don't get myself to the point of being like hyper jittery, things like that. I don't get that anymore. It literally just gets me right to the point where I would normally be 45 minutes after waking up, but within a couple of minutes of waking up. And I happen to just really like the taste of espresso too. So it's a
Okay.
good thing for me from like a serotonin perspective because it gives me something I like first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But it just shortens that runway to being all the way awake.
Okay. All right.
That's where it
Yeah.
gets me anyway.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I like that. And guys, please keep in
I
mind,
do give my best advice after coffee.
please keep in mind, throw out some questions, throw out some topics. If you have something going on in your life, we'd love to hear about it, and we probably can relate to it and expand upon it. G Squared is bringing up something that was big. Yeah, I'd heard these rumors for a couple weeks now, and then I believe just in the last 2 days it got announced officially. It is a merger of the WWE and the UFC, and is going to be the biggest sports entertainment powerhouse now. Yeah, like they just had WrestleMania. We have a huge card coming up in the UFC with Pereira and Stylebender fighting again. And like this is a huge, huge merger. And we've seen crossover between these two promotions before with things like Brock Lesnar and a couple of other like wrestlers that didn't work out so well coming on over. CM Punk was a big flop and all these things. But thoughts on that? Like you're a business guy, right? You're an entrepreneur. You see stuff from that angle. What hits you when you hear that these have merged?
I mean, it's huge. And you know where it's huge, really, I think, is from a sports book perspective. You know, you look at the prevalence of online gaming and where it's expanding right now and being able to do online betting at different venues across the country. Like it just came to Massachusetts. You know, from a regulation standpoint, I think a larger entity like this has more weight to throw around than
Oh,
two individual smaller entities do.
yeah,
And so I bet you there is just so much influence from the sports book perspective of like how these things happen. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like you look at Las Vegas and like the big markets where this stuff takes place, right?
yeah,
I mean, that would be like seeing like, I don't even know. That'd be seeing like Walmart and Target merging,
yeah,
right? In the retail world. Like you have a stranglehold, no pun intended, on that on that market, right? I mean,
Shame on
it
you.
really is.
Yeah, no, so
But I mean,
true.
it's huge. I mean, the money that they're creating there, just the market cap of that alone is going to be huge. And those two market caps, another thing that's going to be a huge benefit for them is if you look at like the bills where these guys go and where they play and where they tour, the types of commission they get at big venues, all those things is based on their individual market cap.
Yep.
Well, they've just doubled their market cap overnight. So like their
Yeah.
riders and their comp, they can demand whatever the hell they want now because they're the only game in town.
Yeah. It's it is pretty wild to think about. And somebody asked, do they have the power slap? Yeah. So Dana White in the UFC started the slapping competition.
Yeah,
You've
that's
seen
part
that?
of that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I think
Me neither.
that's, I believe that mixed martial arts is a sport. I believe that it's actually way safe. I don't believe it. I know it for a fact. It's way safer than boxing because if you
Yeah.
get knocked out or knocked down in the UFC, that's the end of the show. They're stopping the fight. In boxing, it's those continual small hits, that CTE that's happening over and over and over again. So
That's
I'm a
all you
fan of the
have in slap boxing. No defense.
yeah.
Like, and you see some of these, man, like, dear God, you see like some of these, and I don't know why it gets me. And this is, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna say something's not good here. I mean it in a good way. The women's slap boxing for me really hits home because like you see it happen and you see them just go completely limp and fall on the ground, like full on knockout right there at those tables. And I'm just like, dear God, man, it's like you got a girl standing there, no hands up, no nothing, just getting slapped right in the face and knocked out cold. It's like I just don't see how that's a good idea. Like they're worried about, professional, they're worried about in the NFL, right? Like all the CTE scares and all this stuff. Like, well, maybe it is a problem, but we all know it's been a problem
Right.
forever.
Right.
This is literally just that problem
Yes.
as a
It's
sport.
I know it's so, like so many other things. Like back in the day, people saying like, "Oh, well, I guess cigarettes are harmful." Yeah, absolutely. Or like when I was in high school and stuff, it was like kind of not talked about, but like tanning beds, and it was like, "Oh no, there's not been anything." Like we all know this is terrible. This cannot be good in any way, shape, or form. And the power slapping is so ridiculous, and it's angering because they have people standing there waiting for you to fall. And what a lot of people don't realize what this knockout is, because it's not a slap. Like a slap is something that comes across the face. They're aiming for a very specific spot where your jaw meets your skull. You have a
Yep.
nerve there. And essentially, if you move it in any angle within a certain percentage, it triggers your lights. They go out. That's all it
Lights out.
is detaching that jaw nerve from the top. I've been there a few times. It's very scary. It's not a lot of fun. And that's all they're doing is they're aiming for that corner. And it's not slapping across the face. They're trying to just put their force of their wrist into your face, into
And that
your
nerve
skull.
can be permanently disattached, by the way.
Yes, 100%. And it
And
can
you can
lead
have
to
vertigo for the rest of your life.
I was just gonna say, vertigo is common, grinding teeth is common. There's
And Chris, yeah, it's the
so
button.
many things. So yeah, it is. It's the button. Once you hit that button, you just go out, and
Yep.
it's a wild experience. So no, I'm not a fan of that. Like I really, yeah. So I think it's a cool merger, though. I think it's going to be good for all involved. You brought up sports betting. Question for your guests here: how many states do you think currently have legalized sports betting?
So I don't know if I had to answer that like right off the cuff. I mean, I guess I'd say something like 20. It'd
See,
be
yeah,
low.
I was gonna set the line at 25, above or under. It's actually more than I thought. 33 and the District of Columbia.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. And Mass like leaned into it hard. Like we let the Win or the Encore, sorry, which is
Yeah.
owned by Win, I guess, but the Encore in Boston, that casino, once it got open, then it got the sports book that was allowed to happen there. And then within like a month of them getting legal, digital online sports betting became legal here as well.
Oh yeah,
So
and
it's
Barstool Sports was massive for pushing that in Boston.
oh
Massive.
yeah,
They have their
huge.
own books.
Well, what's the one? Is it DraftKings is based here in Boston? They started
Yep.
here, and so
Yep.
they were a
Yep.
Boston company that was literally all over the country, but couldn't make any money in their own backyard.
Yeah. Yep. And same same on shoot, what was the one that was just saying? Blanking the guy from Michigan.
The Barstool.
Barstool, yeah. So he's out of Boston, and they have a massive sport book that people don't even think about, but they're killing it. Killing it.
Dude, yeah,
Side note.
just in time for centralized digital currencies. Imagine that.
There you go. Have you tried mud water?
Yeah, Wilson's actually a big fan of the mud water in here. Chris W. He actually dropped off some of their nighttime stuff for us for Jill. It's like they have like a relaxing mud water that's for nighttime.
Yeah.
It's got lots of like relaxing aptogens and mushrooms and stuff in it that does some good stuff. But their daytime one is actually not that bad. It's good. It's a little on the bitter side, I guess. It's a little dry, I guess, if you could call it anything.
Yeah.
But if you mix, like I did a latte with it where I foamed up some almond milk and added that into the mud water, and that was actually pretty on point. I like that.
Yeah. Yep. And G Squared, this is a very interesting thought. He wonders how Dana feels that technically now Vince is higher on the corporate structure than him, because a lot of people don't realize Dana sold his shares of the UFC to the him and the Fertitta brothers. They had the whole deal of selling the UFC, and then essentially Dana was hired to stay on and fill a role, but not as much of the ownership portion.
Right.
And then Vince McMahon does have his ownership portion. So yeah, now as this conglomerate, Vince is Dana's boss.
Yeah, because what they had was common shares, right?
Yep.
So Dana took common shares of UFC, but Vince took Series A, essentially, shares with a board seat and voting rights, right? So that's a very different situation to be in. I bet Dana's feeling like he probably should have had better negotiations in that first deal of his.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if this is kind of his out, and it's also super interesting. The same thing happened with Barstool Sports. Dave Portnoy also sold his majority portion of Barstool Sports, but was hired on to continue the ship. And this is pretty common in the business world, of course. But yeah, so Vince owns 49%, second most powerful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I'm almost wondering though, is of that 51%, that's probably, at that point is majority like board seats broken up, right? So he's probably the highest single equity holder.
Yeah.
And basically has 49% of a vote, only needing another 2% to tip anything he wants over the edge.
Right. But if the other side all comes together, they can outvote him.
They can.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen a couple sticky situations like that. One with a beard company that turned out pretty interesting. Won't go into any details here, but to give you guys a quick, interesting story of a beard company, two guys start a beard company. They realize they don't have enough funding. They bring in a third guy. He ends up being crooked. They have to take him to court to get him out. They're then in debt because of trying to fight to get the company back. They bring in two other investors. Okay, so stay with me, guys. Now we have the two original guys and then two investors. They all have 25%. Well, one of the original investors left to start a taco truck company, and they split his percentage amongst the other three. So now they all have 33%. The fun part that I wanted to get to, the guy that left to start the taco truck company, who was the co-founder of a very large beard product company, he then robbed a bank and is now in federal prison for the rest of his life.
Holy shit.
Yeah. True story. True story. And I knew the guy very well, actually, like in person, knew him.
So taco truck didn't go so well. He decided he needed to fund his venture some other way. So let's go rob a bank.
And I'm not encouraging this, but you guys can actually look it up. Robbing a bank actually has one of the higher percentages of success rate for major crimes.
It really does. It's actually, it's a surprisingly high number. And what's even crazier about it is the statute of limitations on bank robberies is just like it falls into the normal category in most states of like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So then if you're successful with it and you do a couple of them, you can then go out and talk about it openly and give away all your stories and write books and do TV shows about it without ever fear of getting in trouble for it.
Amazing.
Imagine that, just do a couple of good ones, wait like 10 years, and then boom, you got a book deal.
Oh, yeah. It's like right now there's a massive content segment on every platform, YouTube, TikTok, everything, of like former federal prisoners that talk about their stay in prison and what they did. Like there's huge multi-millionaire content creators that just talk about their days in prison.
Dude, on that note, talking about the craziest profession you never knew existed. Did you know that there is federal prison consultants for the wealthy? To where like if you are a rich guy or a woman and you've done something wrong and you're going to be indicted and you're going to go to jail, on your slow road to jail that you get to go through and get all your ducks in order and make sure you're going to be okay going in there, and tell them when you're going to show up for jail, of course. There's guys out there that have been in federal prison that are now like the business consultants of the prison world. And for a hefty retainer, like these guys charge like between 20 and 100 grand for their time with you.
Whoa.
We'll teach you how to have a more comfortable life in prison, what to expect. They'll make introductions for you to people that can help make your life more comfortable in prison.
Wow.
They're like literally pre-prison consultants that, and then of course these guys get called into like CNN to talk about like,
Yeah.
hey, so-and-so has been in jail for 2 years. What do you think the conditions are like where he's living? It's like, well, where he is, he's going to be experiencing this, this, and this, and this. I know he's dealing with these guys. And now they get like TV and interview deals
They're
as like
balling.
anchor and expert witnesses.
That's wild. Hey,
Crazy.
When life hands you lemons, you make a lot of money out of it.
When life hands you lemons, turn them into a resume, apparently.
Right. For sure. And have you guys seen Vince's new stash and look? No, I haven't.
No, I haven't. Hold on.
Yeah, you pull that up while I bring up this next comment here, and then you can share it if you find a good one. And G Squared said, the new CEO said they paid this much so they could have control. WWE was only valued about $7 billion before this, but they ended up paying 9.3. Wow, those negotiations must have been wild.
Oh, and another thing on the holy crap. Yeah, look at that mustache. No, this is not a real one. This can't be a real mustache.
They're talking about it like it's a wild thing.
Okay, hold on. Let me share my screen and we're going to pick out either GIF. Is this a meme or is this Vince McMahon? All right, hold on here.
Yeah, Vince, if you're watching, man, I do have a show on Wednesday nights called Beard Advice Live, and we do give advice on any kind of facial hair. Everyone's saying it's so bad. So
did I really spell his name? It's like Mick Mahan. It doesn't look like Vince McMahon. Wow. Okay. Let me pull this up and I'm going to share.
And G Squared said it's real. There's video evidence.
Entire screen. So we'll do this one over here.
And by the way, I have no idea what I'm about to see, guys. I have no concept of this. All right. Do you have one selected, Nick?
I mean, let's just go with this here. So, I mean, like, obviously these are like real mustaches here. But then there's like these ones that pop up. He's got like the Walt Disney mustache going on.
So this is like the other one's like a French pencil mustache is what they call those.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. I don't know.
This can't be real, right? This one's not real, is it?
It can't be.
That looks like that. And then of course this one. That's a black painted on one. That's we're just making fun of him here. So we know these are fake.
Yeah.
And we know that one's fake.
All right. So he said it's the ones with the UFC background that are real.
So these guys.
That's atrocious. And he dyes his eyebrows and his hair. Oh my
Look how much
gosh.
space is between the mustache and the nose. Like,
yeah.
For me, that is a look that went away a long time ago for a very good reason.
Yeah, so that's a pencil. That's an actual style. That's a pencil mustache because it looks like somebody drew it on with a pencil.
And it looks like you're like doing one of these, like holding the mustache over your lip.
Oh no, Vince, send on in, man. Yeah, and he's trying to stay
that's
young.
Not so bad.
No, that one's okay. That one's better. It's
but like what's
better.
Happening here?
He just needs to go full like Ron Swanson with it. That would be a great look for him.
He does. He needs some help. Like he needs to get on here and just let us give him some really good supporting motivational ideas.
Yeah. And yeah, the dying is really bad. Like it's just so tough when people get to a certain point in life. Yeah, Jason, it is Vince McMahon. When people get to a certain point in life and they're trying to chase down that we lost Nick, but it's me. You get to that certain point in life. He tried to hit out of the tab that he was on and then clicked out of StreamYard. But you get to a certain point in your life where you're trying to chase looking young. And from there, we got you. From there, you just get to this path where it gets so bad, whether it's people chasing plastic surgery or dying or fake hair, whatever it is. And it's like, you just need somebody close to you in life that just needs to shake you and be like, listen,
stop it.
it's not that. Like, just embrace it, age gracefully. It all happens. Like guys, when they start chasing the comb over and stuff, right? My beard brand haircut video is going to come out next week or the week after. And I just, in the video that's going to have hundreds of thousands of views, I asked him like, hey man, how's my thinning back there? I know it's coming for me. Like, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not hiding from it. That's just life. And
You actually have some thinning going on? I'd never be able to tell from the front.
yeah. Well, you definitely wouldn't because I have a foot on you. You'd never be able to see up here, but
I need a step stool to see your bald spot.
Yeah, no, I got it's hard to tell. I mean, if you're directly above me and you see back here, there's a little bit, but my hair is still thick and full and everything, but it's coming. I mean, it's coming.
Dude, I haven't had hair like yours since I was like 14. Like,
like nowhere is gonna go. Yeah. No
Dude,
doubt.
you know what it is though? Like it's what you said about plastic surgery and all that. I think it's a relativity thing because I think people are like, okay, I'll do this and I'll do this. And it's just a little bit. It's just a little different from where I am. I'll be fine. And then they get there and they want a little more. So all of a sudden their little bit is just a little more on top of that. And then it's like a little more on top of that. So it's like from us, right, looking on the outside, we see someone 15 years ago and we see them now after a bunch of work. It looks like, whoa, how did you not see this coming?
Yep.
I think it's when people get like morbidly obese and they just don't see it themselves happening. And you're like, well, how do you let yourself get like that? You know, you look at the plastic surgery thing. I think it's the same mentality because I think it's just a little bit, little bit, little bit. And to them, it's such an incremental change. But for the outside world, it's like, whoa, you need to stay away, stay out of the plastic surgeon's office.
For sure. And I'm going to have you read your wife's comment here.
That's no stash that looks like a dookie smear.
She said it.
Yeah.
And then Melissa said, if it makes you feel good though, who cares? Yeah, no, I agree. But I would push back and say in most of those situations, and I've had people close to me that have done this, they don't actually feel good. It is something that is always on their mind. They're doing something and they're very self-conscious of it. And it is not a liberating thing. It's not a freeing thing. It's something that like actually traps them and they avoid. I mean, here's a wild thing. I don't have perfect teeth. I grew up pretty poor. And so I did not go to a dentist until I met Sam. True story. We didn't have a family dentist. I didn't have a family doctor. Our doctor was a call-in phone line of like nurse hotlines where they would describe the symptoms and they would tell you what to do on the phone. Like that's how I grew up. Literally my first family doctor and dentist was with Sam when I'm in my like mid-20s. And from that, I don't have perfect teeth, but it doesn't bother me. I'm super confident, but I do notice when people don't have perfect teeth because of the way they cover it up, and it's always on their mind. It's constantly something they're thinking about, and I think it's this in almost all of those cases. I don't mind any kind. Sam does like some Botox. Sam does lips and all that stuff, but it's not something where you see and you're like, oh my gosh, like she's chasing this or that. It's almost always like, oh, they're constantly thinking about it. They're constantly on their mind. And I know this from experience with men where they start to thin, they start to do that comb over, they start to hide their head hair, and it really is weighing on them. And then the moment, the day that they shave their head, it's like, oh, why did I wait so long? If I could count the amount of men that have told me, why did I wait so long to shave? It's unbelievable. And I get to see it every Wednesday. And it's exactly kind of this concept that they were hiding it. They were insecure. They were dying it. They were doing all these things that they thought made them feel good, but it didn't actually. It was weighing on them. And then once they fully embraced what it was to be real on it, it's like, I haven't shaved my head. But from the people that I've heard from, Scott's usually in here. I haven't seen him right now, but he said he found his real self once he shaved his head. And so for me, I'm like, there's a better side.
I felt so much better. I mean, you know, my comb over looked kind of weird anyway, like this, you know? You know, it was really bad.
Hey, that's another video. Like, guys, stop your comb over. Shave it.
Just shave it off. You'll feel so much better.
Yep, pull the beard down. So yeah, that is hilarious. Hilarious on that one.
Dude, and Garrett, I didn't know you were gray on the sides, which is why you like to shave the sides. I will say that look is fantastic on you. That new photo you got of you guys looks awesome too, of you and Melissa. But it's like I looks very intentional, right? But to your point, it was the same damn thing. I didn't like what I had going on top, and thankfully, when it got really bad, my barber was pretty honest with me at the time. He's like, "Dude, it's time to shave it." But I mean, I was nervous. I was nervous to do it. It was weird, but afterwards, I felt great.
Yeah, and Melissa, spot on. I've heard this from so many women, my wife included, and I'll see guys that have that like peppered in gray going up the side of their hair on their beard, and I'm legitimately jealous. I can't wait for that look. And I know so many women that love that gray color, almost universally. It was almost like George Clooney like started that era, and then it's been like beloved since.
Yeah, Melissa, I hear that a bunch, and actually, like Jill always says it. I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna be gray, and the only gray I'm gonna have, I'm just gonna have like this big gray beard. And she's like, I can't wait to be hanging out with my silver fox. She's like, it's gonna be great. She's like, I like that look. So
yeah,
you are not alone, Melissa. I think Jill might actually be in the same boat as you there.
No doubt, no doubt. And G Squared, you're exactly right here. And like I said, I was just talking when it gets like real slippery. We've all seen that. The pictures of Vince with his dyed hair, his dyed eyebrows, dyed mustache, that's like gone too far. But Botox does have some great benefits outside of cosmetic. For example, Sam, when we went to the dentist, either last checkup or the year before, the 6 months before, and she had been grinding her teeth. Well, it's something to do with her jaw and the tension that it has. So the solution that they had is she gets Botox in her jaw and she does not grind her teeth at night now. Has no cosmetic value. Nobody's like, ooh, you got wrinkles on the corner of your mouth. There's like, it's just to relax her jaw, and she doesn't grind her teeth. It was either that or get a mouthpiece, and she refuses to do a mouthpiece. So it has actually worked. So if anybody has any of those issues, and I know people that get Botox for migraines, I know people that get Botox for all sorts of things.
Yeah, in CBD studio, acceptance is the way. This is the way. This is, hey.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Man said
absolutely. Great. Now, right. When Jill tints her eyebrows, call her Vince McMahon. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. She uses some like henna kind of based stuff to like get a little tint in there. And like when she comes out from the bathroom, every time she comes out with them, I'm like, whoa. Yeah. And she's like, henna, don't worry, I haven't rinsed them yet. And I'm like, all right.
Henna is strong, but it's natural, and it actually has some beneficial properties to hair.
It does.
Yep. And absolutely, guys. He said Botox scares him. One of the possible side effects is ALS. Of course, right? Do the research. There's side effects and worries with everything. But as G Squared said, they are floating it around with a bunch of just different treatment options for different things out there. But not a doctor. Don't know the details. All I know is that it has helped Sam.
Not that kind of doctor.
Yeah. All right. So you guys, Nick has asked me a question on here. And just because it's our friends, Nick would like to know, should we announce what the tester bottles are? If you guys want to wait for some kind of like big reveal or something, let us know. But we can do that. Or, all right, I'm gonna be a Debbie Downer. Oh man, I got them all fired up. I'm gonna be a Debbie Downer, Nick. I'm gonna say no, and we're gonna make that our stream next week.
All right.
We're gonna make it. Okay, Judd said, wait, let's make it the stream next week, you guys, and that's gonna be all about it because I think it is worth like diving into the ingredients and explaining.
I think it is too, and I think it's going to be interesting just to talk about. I'm with you, Dan. All right. Wilson's spoken. So,
officially next week, guys.
All right, officially next week it is. Yeah, because we got to talk about the ingredients, but we also have to talk about the process and why this one is actually intentionally taking a while.
Yes.
It's not your. We stand behind everything that we do in the sense that we've like used it and validated results. And with this one, it takes a while to validate the results. And that's all I'll say about it for right now. But you'll understand why next week.
Yes. So, all right. I love that, you guys. One of our items was to get the stream topic next week. That is perfect.
Love that.
Absolutely perfect. So next week, we will tell you exactly, look at all these testers, these things that we have going here. We'll tell you exactly what this is with that wicked color, that beautiful, look at this. Like, that's just so cool. And yeah, and we'll be able to go over it fully because yeah, we only have a couple minutes here, and I don't think we could do it justice. But I love the thought. I love the idea to go over it. So next
Oh
week,
yeah.
what is the tester? And then we'll go dive into it and tell you guys exactly what's going on.
What's in the bottle?
That's fun. That I had somebody ask a question today, and I had to hit them with the like between you and me kind of thing because they didn't ask about this. They asked about what it is, right? They asked about that in general, and it's someone that comes in the streams, and I said, well, a company you know and love is actually coming out with this soon. Stay tuned. And they were like, okay, got you. You're the best. So shout out to Sean if he's out there. He I don't know if he is, but he got a little sneak and yeah. So it's gonna be fun.
Oh, and Ellie, that's awesome. You liked the butter. That's cool.
Oh, nice.
How did you use it? What did you use it for? Was it for skin or was it for hair?
Yeah. Or nails.
Or nails, cuticles.
Whew. Seriously. Yep. Straight up. We used, we don't have it as an issue anymore, but we would use beard butter for diaper rash. And you'd be shocked at how amazing beard butter is on diaper rash.
Dude, I imagine it'd work great. It's a water barrier. It's a nourishing water barrier. I mean, it's like all the things that you'd love about Aquaphor, except not being petroleum based.
Oh God, you took it from me. I was just gonna say I was gonna say that exact phrase. Everything that we love about it, but it's not petroleum.
Yeah, 1000%. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. Okay. And skin. All right. And Ellie, what you're talking about there is actually, it's just really interesting because we have so many people using it for skin now.
Yeah.
We have one of the bigger things that we find with people is skin cancer patients. Really love it at the removal sites. They say it gets rid of a lot of the redness that's there from just the prevailing scars. And they make it less irritated.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
What you got, Garrett?
There's a couple interesting things going on right now, Nick. Somebody brought up about their dog in the beard butter, and we're talking about a skin butter. It's
very serendipitous. I'll tell you, it's dude, I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, it's very. It's almost like our level of transparency is just like cluing people into the point where they almost know what's next.
Dog and skin. Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, dogs and skin. Dogs and skin. Dogs have skin.
They do.
And they also have fur.
True.
I mean, they're basically walking, talking beards.
True.
Oh, fun stuff. More to come. Yeah. Dog skin allergies. Oh, and just so everyone knows, how pet safe. Hey, Dr. Nick, how pet safe is your beard butter for dogs? Well, we will say that every single solid active ingredient that's in our butter, when one of them happens to fall off of a scale or roll off of a scale or come out of a mixer, we do not have to clean it up off the floor because Sir eats all of it.
There you go.
So how safe is it on the skin of your pets? Very. So safe to the point where our French bulldog, who's allergic to literally everything, eats every single bit of it that falls on the floor in our shop.
And loves it.
And
it's all natural.
He's such a maniac with it too. Like he'll sit there like he's sitting next to the dinner table like, come on, when are you going to drop the butter?
That is hilarious.
I want the butter.
He loves mango butter.
He loves mango butter. And I don't know if that's because he loves mangoes so much, but this dog is a junkie for mangoes. Like if you have a package of dried mango skin, dried mangoes, you get like the fruit leathers. Like we get the Soli ones. They're amazing. I don't know if anyone's ever tried those. The Soli mangoes. If you give them a little piece, it's just like giving a crackhead a little bit of drugs. Like they'll just kind of stand there until they know it's all gone. Then they're going to go find it somewhere else. And he does that. Like if you put it on the table, he'll just sit there and whine at the table until you give him another piece. Like he's like, I know there's more in the bag. I can smell them.
In this beauty in the picture here, speaking of Sir, of course, Jill, but Sir has his own Instagram account. If you guys want to check that out.
He does. He's got his own Insta and he's got his own friends. He's got other friends on there that are Frenchies, of course, that are pretty, that's pretty funny.
Yep. And Judd, so it's and I see Jill on it here. It's for the cuticle, which is that little layer of skin between like your normal skin and the nail. And the cuticle is actually needs nourishment, just like your skin does, just like your hair does. And it is a good indication of hydration, of health, Just like our beard, if somebody's health is going, one of the very first things that starts to go is their cuticle. You'll start to see it crack. You'll start to see it be too short. And then as a result, the nails will become dry and brittle. Our beard hair is actually the same exact material as our nails. They're all keratin. It's the
Yep.
same thing. So when you take hair and skin vitamins and nutrients, it's all going to the same place. That's why I always say with biotin, people are like, my beard isn't growing, but everything else is. My nail. No, your body doesn't say like, okay, this keratin, it just pumps it up for your whole body. And so, yep, it nourishes it and helps it grow faster, healthier, and make your nails not as like brittle. Would be kind of the best
it's
way.
Funny. I think your cuticle does the same thing for your nail health that like the sebum in your follicle does for your hair and your beard.
Exactly.
It's a way of excreting that moisture down into the surface of something that's more fibrous.
And if you look at the follicle, it is almost exactly like your cuticle. It's like this layer of skin that's thin and like translucent. It looks just like your cuticle. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's like it's a transit tissue.
Yeah.
Transitions from one material to another.
Yeah.
And Garrett, what you're talking about right there real quick, the pet line, you're talking Dr. Sir's amazing dog stuff. You know, I know we've talked a number of times now and we go back and forth a lot, but it's strange that we are already at this level of having the same thoughts in our heads, even down to names.
This has actually been for like over 6 months now.
Yeah, oh yeah. And so we're like, we're kicking around names, but it's coming. It works just too damn well. And the pet market is insane. And I'd love to get our quality of stuff into that very, very commoditized, awful ingredient market and just take care of stuff.
And skin products, another market that's awful and full of terrible ingredients and stuff. And maybe there's a beard butter that's slightly adjusted to be performing exactly for skin.
Yeah, it's almost like we'd call it miracle butter.
Because it seems to have like taken away aging spots and wrinkles, like so many crazy things that people have reported.
Dry spots, soreness, redness, thin skin, irritation, cracking, itchiness.
We should probably talk about this. Like,
I think maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think so. Write it down. Yep.
Write it down.
That. Okay, got it. All right, guys. Whisker and Whiskey, thank you. Also, thank you to Whisker and Whiskey or anybody else that reaches out to any of us individually. This man right here is a very supportive, very motivating person and has what I consider just a great perspective on life and outlook. So I appreciate you, my friend, and want to say thank you. But other than that, next week, we will reveal what those testers are. 1 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday is going to be a good one, guys. It'll be exciting. It will be a little bit sciencey. You'll get into a process. Maybe we can invite Jill on if she would have us. I think that'd be a great stream to see Jill. But other than that, Nick, we're a little bit over time here, and that's okay. But take them away.
Oh man, this is an awesome one. And now I'm like super pumped for next week. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a good one. Long time coming on this one too. And I think it'd absolutely be a great chance for Jill to get in here with me. Good use for this additional mic I installed. Got to get her up here more. But yeah, guys, awesome. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for spending 1 o'clock on Tuesday with us. Hopefully it has been anything but productive for you when you're taking a break from whatever you're doing. And it has been entertaining and informative, as people have said here. So I'm glad we could deliver both of those things. But no, that's awesome, guys. Thanks a bunch. As always, love it. Thank you for the support and the love. Awesome seeing everybody. It made my week like it always does. And we will see you next week.
Thank you, guys. And real quick, a couple of you have asked. I wasn't trying to ignore. My daughter Violet was sick all yesterday, throwing up every 20 minutes. I told Nick I have a semi-permanent carpet mark on my arm because I slept in her floor all night because it was about every 20 minutes like clockwork she was throwing up. But she slept in till about 10 a.m. this morning. And as far as before this stream, I watched her all morning. Sam had to go run errands and stuff. And as far until the stream, she was just kind of zombied out a little bit. She was a little bit achy, but was not throwing up. She had a little bit of toast, and then she ate some plain yogurt, so that was great. And seems to be getting better. We think it's related to drainage from an ear infection. This poor girl, she just turned 3, and then for a week and a half, she had COVID, followed by an ear infection, now followed by the throwing up. So, man, many parents out there know that heartbreaking, like, feeling where you don't have control. And that was me all last night, but I would not have rather been anywhere else. You know, I was happy to be by her side and take care of her. But I think today is the day where she's getting better. And yeah, she is. The
Water,
saddest thing,
water.
last night she couldn't hold down any water, so she kept asking for water, and I could give her like a little tiny sip or one thing. Like the saddest part of last night is I put her water up on her dresser, and I had to go run to get my water because I'm like, okay, I'm in here for the long haul. And when I did, I heard like rustling around in her room. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna throw up. No, she got out of bed, got on her dresser, took her water, went back into bed. I was like, oh man, so heartbreaking. But she's been holding it down today and drinking a ton of water, and so that's our number one priority, is just getting the water to stay. So
yeah, get some electrolytes and some Pedialyte and hold that stuff in there.
yeah, yep. So
treat it like Wilson after a long Friday and just down that Pedialyte.
No doubt, no doubt. So thank you guys for asking and caring, and thank you for an amazing stream today. Literally lightning quick. It's crazy how fast these go. And we will be back next week, guys. See you on Tuesday.